All right, let's try to finish this up the best we can. All right, so yesterday we did distance. We just went over the homework on that, talked way more than I wanted to on that. Let's talk midpoint. Midpoint. And we'll call it a formula. We've already talked about what the midpoint is, haven't we? Yeah. So let's just do that very quickly here. So if I put a point right here, if I put a little tick mark here and here, what does that little tick mark mean? They're congruent. They're equal to each other, right? So AB and BC are congruent to each other. That must mean that B is the what? Is the midpoint, okay? Let's put some numbers on here. Let's just make it super easy. Let's say this is 2 and this is 10, all right? And I wanted to find out what the middle number is between 2 and 10. Everybody hear that? Yeah. All right. So what is your guess right off the bat? You might be able to guess. These are easy numbers. 5? 5's the middle of 2 and 10? Between 2 and 10? I'm waiting. 6, 4.5. I heard 5. Anybody else? 3. Are you just throwing numbers out? I think so. All right, here's how to do it.
No, it was 4.
What? If that was 4, how far is it from here to here? That's 2. How is it from here to here? It is 6. It is 6. Because how far is it from 2 to 6? 4. How far is it? Thanks. How far is it from 10 to 6? It's 4. Agreed? How did we get that? Just threw random numbers out and hope they stick?
Yeah.
Not a good idea. Here's what you do, okay? If I take the 2 endpoints, this point and this point, let me have you think about it for a second. I'm going to do 2 things, 2 little math things to get 2 and 10 to become a 6. What would you do with 2 and 10 in order to get a 6 out of it? 2 things. Molly, go ahead. Okay, add them up. Is that what you said? Okay, add them up. Well, that gives me a 12. It doesn't give me a 6.
But then divided by 2.
Yeah, that's too complicated. It's a lot easier. Carly, what'd you say? What?
Add them up and
Divided by what?
by 2.
Yes. I didn't hear you say that. Okay, so you add them up and you divide by 2. That's how you find the midpoint. Everybody got that? Well, kind of. It's like half of it. All right, so I'm going to add them up, my 2 endpoints, and I'm going to divide them by 2. So that's 12 divided by 2 is what? 6. Now that's pretty easy. What if I did it up and down? It's the same exact thing, isn't it? Let's make it a little more difficult. Let's say this is at -6 and this is at, I don't know, positive, we'll go 10 again, all right? So where is the middle point? It's a little tougher because you got a negative. What's the rule? What did I just say to do? I add them together, right? So plus -6 and divide by what? 2. What's 10 plus -6? 4 divided by 2 is 2. So where's the middle? The middle is 2. All right, so you add them up. Even if you have a negative, you still add it. Okay, you keep the negative. So you add the 2 together, which I did. I got +4, and then you divide it by 2. That happens to be a 2, and then that's the midpoint right there. What if your line was diagonal? Like this. And you wanted to find, see, the midpoint's about right here. All right. What if I wanted to find that midpoint? I'll call it MP for midpoint. Let's call this X1, Y1. Remember this from yesterday? What do you think we're going to call this one? Very good. See how smart you guys are? We're working it out. We're doing it. Okay? So check this out. I'm going to go pretty quick because we kind of went over this yesterday. go from here. I'm not going to do two different colors. I'll just keep it one color. All right, that's good enough. Right there. Where do you think that point is? Right there. How far over do you go? Well, right under here. I want x2. How far down do you go to y1? So that's that point. Now, what's the distance between here and here? I'm sorry, not distance. We're doing midpoint, aren't we? Here, let's get rid of that. Let's say that's the midpoint right there, okay? How do I find that midpoint down here on the bottom? What do? I add up the x's and do what? Divide by 2, all right? What do I do over here on the y's? What do you think I'm going to do? Add up the y's and divide by 2, all right? So how do I find that point right there? See if well, I was off a little bit. That midpoint's probably more like right here. Boom. And then I'm off a little bit, okay? I'm just eyeballing it here. But the midpoint of here, if I drop it up and put it over, so what is this midpoint right here? What is that point? Here's the formula. I'm writing it down. It's a point, right? It's not just a number. It's a point, so we make it an ordered pair. So how do I get to the x part of this? I go x1 plus x2 over 2. That's the x portion of the midpoint. How far do I go up? Well, I go up to here, to that midpoint. So that's y1 plus y2 over 2. And that is the midpoint formula. Okay? No, it's a point. Listen to me. It's a point. You have an x part of your point, you got a y part of your point. You don't add them, you don't multiply them, you don't subtract them. They just stay separate. That's the x part of your point. Everybody see that? This is your what? The y part of your point. It's a point. It's not like distance where you just get a number. You can't say the midpoint is 3, not if it's diagonal, okay? Because you got to have an x, you got to have a y. It could be 3, 1, it could be negative 2, 4, it's got to be a point. Make sense? A lot of students on a quiz, they're going to write, I'm going to ask the midpoint between 2 points, and they're going to say like -7. That doesn't make any sense, all right? Unless it's just going horizontally or it's just going vertically. But these are diagonal, all right? It has to be a midpoint. So you write your answer as a midpoint. So you need parentheses, you need a comma in between, all right? Then you got an x part, you got a y part. Olivia.
What if you find like the distance and then divide it by 2? Or is that like not?
It's not a thing. Well, it's finding half the distance, but that's not finding the midpoint though, right? Because look, the distance of this might be like, I don't know, the square root of 23. All right, I'm just making up a number, okay? So what's half the distance? The square root of 23 over 2. The midpoint's completely different. All you're doing, if you find the distance from here to here, you're just finding the length of it. I'm finding where that point's actually located. I'm not finding out how long it is. I'm not finding out anything like that. I'm just saying that it's the middle of this. Finding the distance and dividing by 2 is only showing you the length of that segment right there. It's not showing you where the point is located, right? I could have that same length, like go out to here, couldn't I? That's not the same as the midpoint. I could have that same length coming out to here. It's not the midpoint. We got it? Okay. I need to move on. Let's do one quick example. Again, this is another thing where you should write down the formula. So let's write it down nice and clean. So here's what I always do. I always put over 2 comma over 2. All right? And then you just put the x's here, and then you put the y's here. Now, it's super important that the x's go first. You cannot put the y's first. You have to put the x's first. Now, does it matter what order you add the x's in? No, because addition, right, doesn't make any difference what order you add them in, right? But you got to put the x's first. and then you got to divide by 2. So here's the question. It says find the coordinates of the midpoint between these 2 points right here. So here's one point, and here's another point. Find the midpoint. First thing I would do is write down this little formula and then plug it in. So I write it as an ordered pair. So I put my parentheses and my comma. I know I'm dividing everything by 2, so I'm going to divide them both by 2. And now I can just add up the x's. So I'm adding this time, not subtracting. Remember, distance formula, you're subtracting. With midpoint, you add them together. So what's negative 2 plus 1? I'll tell you what, I'm going to write it right here. Negative 2 plus 1. And then we do the y's. Here are the y's. It's positive 3, positive 5, so it's just 3 plus 5. Now, if you're going to do this on a homework or something, if you want to just add those in your head and then put it over 2, it's fine. But for right now, I'm going to write everything down so you see what we're doing. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1 over 2. This is 3 plus 5 is 8 over 2. Am I going to keep my answer like that and circle it? No. Simplify it. The negative 1/2 is good the way it is. 8 over 2 is 4, and that is how you would write your answer. You write it as a point. 4 over 1's fine, okay? But why would you want to do that? You wouldn't want to, would you? Nah. I mean, 4 over 1 is okay, but write it as a 4 for sure. All right. Oh man, I thought I was really gonna be able to finish this today, but I don't want to skip through slope. Slope is so important. I don't want to try to do it in 2 minutes. All right, that'd be crazy. So let me change the homework schedule again. So let's just do the midpoint stuff. So that would be 7 to 12. So that's all we're doing tonight. So I really wrecked my lesson plans for this week, but you know, it happens sometimes. So let's do 7 through 12. So we'll call it 3, 4B, and we're doing 7 through 12. All right, it's not what it says on facts. Okay, I don't know, it's the same page. It's the same page, page 132. There you go. All right. I'll get it in a second. All right, everybody good? Okay.